There's a right way and a wrong way to negotiate a car deal. Sadly, with over 23 years of car experience, a lot of you do it the wrong way. So I want to share with you these 5 worst techniques to negotiate a car. And these are not techniques that I've made up. These are not techniques that I've only seen once or twice. These are techniques that people continue to try and 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 try over again, and they fail miserably 100% of the time. I'm gonna come out swinging with probably the #1 mistake that everyone does in the industry, and that's not working their car deal in 3 separate transactions. Everyone looks at a car deal as 1 transaction, and that's very wrong. It can be up to 3 transactions, and you've got to look at it when you're buying a vehicle that you have to sit here and look at it as the first transaction is buying the vehicle. The second transaction is how you're gonna pay for it. So that could be financing, that could be down payment, that could be full cash, and most importantly, third is if you have a trade-in, that you work that separately as well. You have to work them in that order. You first negotiate the vehicle that you're purchasing to the price that you want. You do not negotiate payment or work on payment. You have to negotiate the price to what's affordable to you. You've got to do all your homework on payments and whatnot at home. That's why it's called homework, not on dealership ground. When you negotiate on dealership property, you are at a big disadvantage. They call it home field advantage for a reason. You're not at home, they are. They do this every day. You do this every 3 to 5 years. Secondly, you got to worry about the financing. If you're not paying cash for a car, you do not allude that you're not paying cash for a car. Even when you are paying cash for a car, this is a negotiation. If they're willing to give you a better deal because you finance a car over paying cash, pay that loan off in 3 to 6 months and take the lower price. It's not going to cost you much in interest. You're going to come out ahead. I promise you. If you're financing a car, you don't let them know that you're financing. And the very first foremost thing you do is you get pre-approved from your bank or your credit union to buy the car so you know the best rates. And then you use that rate to negotiate with them to get a lower rate. It's okay to finance with a car dealership. It truly is. But you got to go in knowing what the rates are so that way you can get the lowest possible payment and the lowest possible interest rate so you don't overpay for your car. Oh, that pesky trade. Everyone hates the trade-in process. The dealers all lowball it. Sometimes they don't lowball you. You just don't have the right information and you think your car's worth this. I literally just did this. I had a customer call me. He wanted to trade his 2005 C6 Corvette for my 2007 Z06. I gave him an extremely fair and aggressive trade offer. I really wanted to move my Z06. He hung up on me. I haven't had a customer hang up on me in a long time. The reason why he hung up on me because I gave him $15,000 for his 80,000 mile base Corvette, and he thought I lowballed him. He wanted $25,000 for this car. He did the wrong information at home. He didn't do any information at home. He just assumed something. That is a big thing. You've got to do your homework on your trades. You've got to go get 4 to 5 independent appraisals. Carvana, CarMax, Car Gurus, independent dealership. You go to the dealership that you're looking to buy from. If you're looking to buy a Chevy, you go to a different Chevy dealership and have them appraise your car. Even at this dealership, you come in a week before you want to buy a car, have them appraise it and say, hey, I'm going to come back later on, right? This is how you work a car deal. And if you're not doing it that way, you're negotiating your car deal wrong. Number 2, I just kind of alluded to it, but let's talk about lowball offers, right? Lowball offers don't get you nowhere. You've got to do your homework before you contact the dealership. You've got to negotiate your car deal while you're at home. Negotiating a car deal inside a dealership is usually detrimental to your good ability to buy a car at the lowest price. When you stay at home or at work and negotiate through email or through text message, I promise you you're going to get a good deal. But if you lowball a dealership, you're not going to get anywhere. If a dealership has got their cars priced at $10,000 and you offer them $5,000, they don't have $5,000 of room to mark up. You spend more money at a grocery store every month than you do on your car payment, but you don't negotiate with the grocery store. You only want to negotiate with the dealership. I promise you 100%, if you do your research at home, you look at other like vehicles, regardless if it's new or used, and you can see that they're comparable, you don't have much negotiating power. Dealerships like mine spend a lot of money to make sure that we can market people who are looking at Car Gurus, TrueCar, Edmunds, Cars.com, Car Gurus. If I didn't say them already, I think I did. But we do a lot of research to ensure that when we price these cars out there, that you find our car first and you contact us first. And what's the number one thing that sells car? Unfortunately, price. It's a race to the bottom in the car dealership world, and we have to have the lowest price in order to entice you to get a call. Number 3, it kind of goes right along with number 2, but it goes along with pricing of a car. I love this analogy, and I think it hits a home run when I say it. If you see someone you like, regardless if it was 20 years ago, right now, or in the future, you don't go up and walk up to them and say, hey, my name's Mike, nice to meet you. Want to get married? You gotta work it. You've gotta do your stuff. You gotta do your due diligence. You have to be together. You have to make sure that you like this person. You gotta make sure you tolerate this person before you walk up that aisle and say, I do, right? So this is the same thing when you ask for a lower price up front. You can't ask for a lower price out the gate, on the phone, in person, regardless of it is. You call up the dealership, ring, 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 ABC Motors, how can I help you? Hey, what's your lowest price on XYZ car? You're not gonna get anywhere. I can promise you 100%. If you've ever called anywhere and have proof that you called up a dealership and say, hey, I need a lower price, will you do it? And they said yes, out the gate, please call me. I know it's never happened. I'm not gonna get any phone calls. You can't ask for a lower price up front. You've gotta work it. You've gotta show them reasons why that they need to lower their price so that way you can win. So the worst thing to do is just ask for that price up front. Number 4 is distance from the dealership. The further you are away from the dealership, the less likely you're gonna get anything from this dealership. I wanna create loyalty out of my customers. I want loyal people. And who's loyal? The people closest to me. My dealership is in a really small town of like 300 people. Now the metro area, the county area is more like 35, 40, 50,000 people, but I have a very small network of people in my area and I want to sell as many cars as I can. And the only way that I'm going to do that is by getting a repeat and referral business. And where does that come from? Very close, 20, 30 miles from my dealership. We got Louisville, Kentucky, 10 minutes away from us. We've got a big county here. We got a big county to the west of us. Those people are going to buy our cars over and over and over again. Since I'm in Southern Indiana, if you're calling me from St. Louis, if you're calling me from California, if you're calling me from Michigan or New York, guess what? You're not gonna be loyal to me. The further away you are, the less likelihood you're gonna get that dealership to do anything with you. So if you call that dealership up and you try to negotiate price, if you try to negotiate reconditioning items, if you try to negotiate shipping, anything like that, the likelihood of you negotiating is gonna be much less when you're further away from the dealership than you are. So stick close to your dealerships if you can, unless you find that unicorn that you gotta absolutely have, but no, the further you are, the harder it is to negotiate. And number 5, they say there's no such thing as dumb questions, but let me rest assure you, with the millions of conversations I've had and the people who have attempted to negotiate with me, yeah, there's some dumb questions. 2 pop into mind. Number 1, is that your best price? I hear this all the time. That's the stupidest question you can ask a car dealership. You already know the answer. They're gonna tell you, yes, that's our best price. Have you ever had a car dealership say, you know what, that is our second best price on that car. Let's lower it just because you asked that really good question. It's never gonna happen. Don't ask questions like that. You've gotta work your car deal correctly, which you can find in my other videos by subscribing to this channel, to make sure that you get to your end game of winning. By you winning means that you drove off in that car at a fair negotiated price. The second dumbest question you could possibly ask a car dealership is, that the best you can do? It's the exact same question as I asked earlier, but it's very similar in different way of asking it. Hey Mike, I really like this Nissan, yada, yada, yada. Is that the best you can do? Do you think that salesman gonna tell you, no, I can do better, but sign right here anyways at the higher price? That's like me asking you, hey, I know Kelley Blue Book is showing $4 grand for your trade. Would you take $2 grand for it? What are you gonna tell me? Mike, you're high, you're crazy. I'm not gonna let you give me $2 grand for my $4 grand car, right? Come on now. So don't ask dumb questions, ask open-ended linking questions, and know the best way to ask a question is when you already know the answer to that question. And you guys should know, even though I titled this the 5 worst negotiating techniques, you gotta know that I'm gonna give you something extra because I've always done that for my 13-year career here on YouTube. And number 6, and that's knowing your credit. You have no idea how many people out there that I talk to just simply don't know their credit, or they use Credit Karma or other credit-based reporting agencies that you have an app on your phone to think that that is their actual credit score. Let me rest assured. You can see my credit report right here. I'm a 790 and an 800 on those. Those numbers mean absolutely nothing to me. But what I really want you to pay really close attention to is right under there, it says that your credit score is updating tomorrow. That is absolutely wrong. Your credit score is updated once per month, not all these times that Credit Karma makes you think that it updates updates. And these scores are what's called an advantage score. The only score that matters to you and the banks is the FICO score. Yes, a lot of these reporting agencies of apps you have on your phone or emails you get or your credit card bills or whatever the case may be are saying FICO on there, but they're absolutely not. They're the advantage score, and no bank uses the advantage score in the car dealership to ensure that you get the fair reporting of your credit to them. They don't use it for decision-making process, and they don't use it to report to either. So you've got to make sure you know your credit before you go in, because this is going to give you the best negotiating techniques. Typically speaking, the people who have to really worry about that is people who are under a 740 or lower credit score. And since you guys are such a great negotiator, you've actually convinced me to go 2 over the title of this video. And so number 7 is not knowing the market. So the biggest thing is over 2020, 2021, 2022, and now coming into 2023 is the market is so crazy. You cannot listen to the news. Everyone right now in this current time of this shooting this video is saying the market is going down. I wish it was, because I'm witnessing dealers pay retail for cars, paying $3,000 over market trade-in values for cars. I don't know how they're gonna retail out of them, but you not knowing how the market is going on the used or new car that you're purchasing, and most importantly, if you're a payment buyer and not understanding the payments, you are at a huge detrimental of making the car buying process much difficult. If you're wanting a $60,000 car and a $300 a month payment, it doesn't add up. A good rule of thumb is always $20 for every $1,000 that you borrow. Even with interest rates going up like they are in 2023, that $20 analogy still works out to your benefit. So always know that how much you want. If you want a $400 payment, you know the math, it's a $20,000 car. And of course, if you have negative equity, you've got to figure that in as well. So hopefully these 7 tips of the worst negotiating techniques can help you negotiate a much better deal for your next automobile.